Looking at this morning, Wits University scheduled to reopen today. Chriselda Lewis is there. Let's have a quick chat to her. Chriselda, the scenes that unfolded last week were absolutely devastating. I mean, we were talking to you live when stun grenades were being fired at some of the students being arrested. There was police being injured. There were scenes that we would not want to see at any university or anywhere in South Africa happening. Today, I can only imagine that security once again very, very high. Good morning to you.
Well, a very good morning to Leanne. Yes, absolutely. Just a few minutes ago, Leanne, while you were reading that intro, police have now made their way to the stairs here of the Great Hall. I've counted at least about 7 cars at this point, where it seems police are getting ready. You'd know that the institution had issued a statement over the weekend indicating that after a meeting with the University Council, they've now resolved to reopen Wits University this morning. Whether that is going to happen at all, it certainly doesn't seem to be the case. Of course, if the comments of these students are anything to go by, students are saying they're not going to allow this institution to reopen. And certainly the scenes that we saw last week, where the university had made its first attempt to reopen, students had gone inside lecture halls and forcefully removed lecturers, as well as some of these students from the lecture hall. So students are saying they're going to continue with their action. And as you pointed out a bit earlier on, Leanne, yes, the institution has indicated that it wants students, the students can embark on protest action, but in designated areas at the university, the students are saying they're going to continue with their action wherever they choose to do so. In addition to the tight police contingent that we're seeing here, just behind me as well, if I could move out of this shot as well, just on the stairs of the Great Hall there as well, the private security personnel have also come out now in full force. And really what we're expecting here this morning is really some kind of confrontation between these students, because while the university is adamant that it will go ahead with lectures this morning, these students are saying that that is absolutely not going to happen. So the institution itself caught between a rock and a hard place, if I may there, Leanne, because these students are adamant they're going to continue with their protest action.
Well, I'm reading some of the comments from the SRC and some of the student leaders, but one of the particular representatives that we obviously have been quoting quite a bit, Msiba Dlamini, saying, and I quote here in one of the newspapers, "Our blood can spill on the university grounds. We are prepared to sacrifice our blood for the sake of a better future for many young people." He said in a statement by Wits, in which it promised to disarm protesters carrying rocks, stones or any weapons, it was tantamount to draconian rules. Chriselda, it just appears that the students are not going to stop at anything.
Oh, absolutely. The sentiments that you just read there from Chriselda Lewis are certainly the sentiments that are shared by many of the students who are protesting here. You'd recall, of course, that mediation process with some of the former or the alumni of this university indicating that they tried to intervene in the situation here. But, of course, students have been saying, you'd recall also, given that this protest is also entering a new week now, this is also as a result of the General Assembly that was cancelled by the university. And students had decided to have their own General Assembly where they really aired their views about some of their concerns on this particular campus. So it certainly doesn't seem like the situation is going to let up anytime soon. You must recall, Leanne, that these students are saying they want free education, and free education now. And really what the university is saying is that, of course, it cannot make that decision. But what it is prepared to do, it is prepared to march with students for that particular cause. But what the university was in particular uncomfortable with was that during the negotiation process, during that mediation, it was not able to get a confirmation from students or an assurance from the students that the university would be able to reopen. So we saw the talks really fall apart there. And this is where we're at this point, where you've got about 37,000 or close to 40,000 students now who their future really hangs in the balance. And what clarity there will be about the writing of exams also. You must recall that the university had also said that it was going to amend its examination timetable and perhaps look at other ways that these students are able to write their exams. Of course, those who want to write the examination, because the university claims that a majority of the students at this campus want to write their examinations and do not want to waste the 2016 academic year. So really, at this point, there's absolutely no clarity whether there will be any. You can see there, just to bring you up to speed with what we're seeing at this point, police have also brought in the K9 unit as well. So, police are absolutely prepared at this point. I guess they do not want to be caught wanting at this point because of the scenes that we saw. If those scenes that we saw last week are anything to go by, Leanne, we are expecting a worsening situation because the two parties themselves do not seem to be reaching common ground. The university is adamant that it cannot waste the 2016 academic year. And students, on the other hand, are also equally adamant that they will not allow lectures to take place at this institution until they receive free education. So we're expecting somewhat of a standoff here, Leanne, between the two because both sides are not budging at all.
Yeah, and both sides certainly trying to, win either side. I mean, if that's not, the weight that I can put it, because you've got the students who have come this far and they are saying they are not going to back down, as you've mentioned as well in your words. Management, however, feel like there are so many students that need to continue and they cannot let this academic year go down. So it's a vital moment today, one can see. I know it's still early, but just having a look around, are you seeing any students coming in? I mean, from the shot that we are seeing here on screen, there are no students. It just seems that there's security personnel and police everywhere, as well as media gathering. But do you see normal students walking around, students that are perhaps going to be protesting? I mean, just paint a scene with that regard for us.
Well, yeah, the students were expected to start gathering at 7 o'clock this morning. So we're really expecting them to group at one of the areas here on the university. But what's taking place right now, the shots that you probably cannot see towards me right now, police are moving with the dogs, trying to sniff around the campus as well to ensure that, I guess, the area is safe at this point. But just to get back to your point there, Leanne, is that you're not seeing any students at this point. They're expected to start gathering at about 7 o'clock this morning. That's when we're really expecting to see something really take place here. They're adamant. Recall that the lectures, the first lectures do begin at about 8 o'clock in the morning. So them gathering at 7 o'clock, they had been in massive consultations over the weekend and had a mass meeting yesterday. So the decision that was taken at that mass meeting was to regroup this morning on one part of the campus and basically just disrupt any activity that will be taking place here, any academic activity, removing lecturers from the lecture rooms and students, those who want to continue with the academic year. So no students at this point, much of the police that we're seeing at this point, just one student I'm seeing there now walking up the stairs going into the Great Hall, but security is extremely tight. You'd recall also that media statement that was sent out by the university also indicating that every single student and every member of staff at this university has to carry their student card. So you'll be extensively searched when you come in. As we were driving onto the premises of the institution, we were asked where we were going. Some of the boots of the vehicles are being searched at this point. So the university certainly is not taking any chances at this point. But students, again, there, Leanne, absolutely adamant that they will continue with their action. And they're certainly not going to let up. But of major concern, Leanne, there are so many stories that haven't been told about this particular incident, not just at Wits University, but I guess at many institutions around the country, of students who are complaining, international students who you will know have to pay their fees up front in order for them to even gain access to universities. And many of them who we've spoken to and really have not featured at this point because of the ongoing violence, concerns about the monies that they're going to lose this year. And some students basically saying they simply cannot afford to repeat a year. Some of them saying the people who are paying for their tertiary education are parents, are grandmothers who use their pensions to pay for this tertiary education. So you're really caught in between students who are saying South Africa really has a tertiary education system that is way too expensive for any child to access. And you've also got those who've made accessibility through trying to pay for this tertiary education, but are absolutely struggling to do so at this stage. So really many stories that still need to be told when it comes to this particular issue, apart from the violence and the intimidation that we saw. We'll try to cover as much as we can pertaining to that, but very, very tough situations at this point. Students already here next to me. We can see some of the EFF students as well from the student body are also starting to gather. Unfortunately, we can't show you that at this point, Leanne, but we'll certainly bring you all the latest from Wits University here as students are now starting to gather, and certainly police will have their hands full here this morning. We see quite a lot of reinforcement that has been brought, something that the university said it would do if it feels that the university or its staff or those who want to return to work and to the lecture rooms may feel intimidated. They'll have to bring in more police reinforcement.
Okay, we have to leave it there. Chriselda Lewis, thank you very, very much for updating us on the situation there at Wits. And you can see that Chriselda is certainly keeping a very, very close eye on all of the events that are taking place there. We will be crossing to shortly after 7 o'clock, and that's when it's expected the students should start coming into the campus when they are totally against the fact that Wits reopening again today. Let's